Well, there she goes, guys. The settling cage is back on top of the loft. That was not very fun to do. It's been snowing. It's been real cold. I think it's 15 or so degrees out today, and that was a challenge to get that up there in the cold. Everything was sort of frozen. Everything's still snow covered, but we got it up there. The big push was I got a text from a buddy of mine, and all the text was a picture of tracking numbers, and he had sent a bunch of birds without really letting me know that he's sending them. So I had to get things going, and I figure I'll show you guys as well. Some of these birds are from Texas, and some of these birds are from a local flyer here who wants to test a few of his birds this year. So none of these birds are actually mine that I'm weaning. My birds are not quite ready to be weaned. Maybe a few this week, but I'm gonna start moving them as we go throughout the week. But a couple of really nice birds. Again, some of these birds are from some of my old stock that I've sent my buddy, and some are from his, which they're kind of exciting. It's exciting to get started, and it's amazing how fast things actually take off, guys. Once you start breeding, it's unreal. Just the speed of how things go. You know, you think, well, man, I'm not getting eggs, I'm not getting babies, and then you turn around and you end up having a loft full of youngsters you got to deal with. I mean, they're just sort of everywhere. And yep, we got a bunch of whites. So my buddy does white dove releases here in the local area, and he's real fond of his whites. He actually put 3 whites in my loft: a black, a recessive red, and I think one of the other ones was maybe just a basic color, a little blue-white flight. But he's real fond of them, and you know, I'm a big fan of racing colors. Just because it's white or because it's blue doesn't make it a bad bird, and definitely doesn't make it a good bird. I've had race winners come in all sizes, all colors, so I'm up to the challenge. Good bird can come in any flavor. I'm not gonna condone a bird just because it's a different color. But they actually pretty nice. Ran them all in just to give you a better look at them. Like I said, not too fancy, just a bunch of little birds, and it's exciting. It's exciting to get started. I'm real eager, like I want to let them out, but it's a huge mistake, guys. As much as I want to let them out in the aviary or in the settling cage right away, you first have to teach them whatever method you use, whether you whistle, you use a little rattle can or something to indicate that you're feeding. You first have to go through that route. You have to teach them that means food, and that's when you start calling them in. So for right now, for the next week or so, they're going to be... I'm going to keep a close eye on them, just make sure everybody's eating and drinking as they should. I haven't had it to dip any heads yet, which is nice. Most of these youngsters are pretty old. But I'm going to teach them that my whistle means food, and then once they start to respond to that, and I can start calling them in, have a little bit more control, then they're going to go out. They'll have access to the settling cage, all day long from morning to night. They can always, of course, run in if there's a hawk or something of that nature out there. And then, they'll learn. They'll see a 360-degree view of their surroundings, and hopefully we cut down on the losses. It's been a godsend since I created that little setup there where they can get on top of the loft and look all the way around. I've had very few losses settling. Once we start training, that's a different scenario. That's on the bird at that point. But settling, I've had very few losses. Because again, they can get a much better view of their surroundings. They can learn a lot more. But first things first, don't get too eager. Make sure that you have control over the youngsters. Whatever you use, I like to whistle. I know a lot of guys like to use a little coffee can filled with some grain or something, a little rattle can setup. Whatever it is you use, make sure they identify that as a call for food. We went ahead and cleaned everything out. Man, it was a dream, guys. I've had to do no scraping at all. All the droppings were super dry. Again, I do use a floor covering. I don't know if it shows very well on the camera. Down there, it's basically a floor dry, so whatever droppings that initially hit that are going to dry right away. And everything was, I dare to say, fluffy. I mean, nothing was compacted. Everything was loose. A shovel full of droppings weighed absolutely nothing. And you know how that goes, guys. Once you shovel those heavy spots and it's super heavy, it's basically just the water content's very heavy in it. And in this case, it was all super dry. There was quite a bit of feed down there, which was unfortunate. I probably lost a good maybe 2-3 days worth of feed. But you know what? It's give and take. I'll go ahead and waste a little bit of feed to gain the sheer pleasure of having birds now. Not having to to clean, on a daily basis. And I think, it's warm, it's wood, so everything's nice and clean. We're gonna get the birds situated here, make sure they know what my calls are, what my commands are, have control, and then they could go out. And it's exciting. It's exciting to see these little whites. Like I said, my buddy here locally, Flyers for Jimmy, he's real fond of his whites. He does white dove release for funerals and weddings and things of that nature. So this year is exciting. He wanted to race himself but couldn't due to his schedule. And I said, bring a few to my house. I normally don't take in birds that I don't know where they're from, because you never know what you're bringing in. But a lot of, like I said, he's taken a few of my birds in the last few weeks to breed out of. So I'm not too concerned about that. Plus, I want to try them. I'm a huge fan of color. You know me, I'm a sucker for a red, but I'll race pretty much anything. Birds can come in all shapes and sizes and colors. Winning birds, I mean to say, or super pigeons can come in all shapes, sizes, and colors. So I'm not gonna shy away just because they're white or black or whatever other color. I like them all. I like to have a rainbow of colors in my loft. I think it makes it look fun. It's exciting. You're not stuck with 100% blue bar, and then you get that one odd silver or odd red check or something in the corner that you're just kind of hanging around to. I like to see them all, guys. It makes it fun. Like I said, just real quick, want to show you guys the birds as well. I'll be moving mine over throughout the week, and hopefully within the next couple weeks I'll be able to let them out and we'll go down that route. So everything's moving fast, guys. Once you start, like we've said before, that's when the work begins. So it's exciting. We'll see you on the next one, guys.